A fear some foreign guys have when they date a Filipina, and especially when they're considering to bring her to live in his country, is that she'll end up leaving him for another foreign man. This fear is driven by stories they hear over social media from other foreign men who may have taken a Filipina to his country as his wife, and then she's left him for another man. But how often does this really happen? And are there other issues at play here within the relationship that many guys simply won't tell you about? Remember, there are always two sides to a story, and when you hear these guys, all you're hearing is the version they want you to hear. In this video, I'll tell you the things that these guys may fail to mention as to why their relationship ended, and if you should be worried about bringing your Filipina to your country to live. So be sure to stay with me here. Just quickly, if you're looking to date a Filipina and are not sure where to start, then why not check out my affiliate link in the pinned comment to the Philippines' #1 dating site where it's free to create an account. Simply, Filipinas are much the same as other women in as much as you get good and not so good in any country. And as a result, you'll always hear stories around how a Filipina has scammed a guy or how he brought her to his country only for her to run off with a younger guy. Now certainly this can, and on occasions does happen, one can't deny it. But the reality is that the same things also happen in just about any country on the planet. I believe a very small percentage of Filipinas are looking to marry a guy and go abroad only to gain residence or citizenship there and then leave the man who is usually somewhat older. In fact, in the small city I live in Australia, which is only around 50,000 or so people, I know of 7 or 8 Filipinas who are in a very good long-term relationship with their Aussie husband. And of course, I've heard on this channel many other foreign guys who are very happily living in their respective countries with their Filipina wives. But one must understand that when going into any relationship, whether it be dating or marriage, nothing is ever guaranteed. No matter how careful we think we may be, or how good things seem at the time, things can go wrong and relationships can break down. But the real question here in this video is around Filipinas deliberately setting out to catch a foreign guy, marry him, and to go and live in his country with the sole purpose of gaining citizenship and then running off with another guy. Again, I'm sure on very rare occasions this does happen, and usually it's when the foreign guy and the Filipina have rushed into the relationship very quickly at the start without taking time to get to know one another. It's really like a relationship on steroids, and sooner or later it's going to explode. But the reality here, for most at least, is that the reason a Filipina may leave her foreign husband is because once she gets to his country to share their lives together, she finds out he may not really be the man she thought he was, or simply, he doesn't treat her the same as he did when they were doing the long-distance dating thing. Many Filipinas are very trusting women, and she sees the way she was treated by you when you visited her in her country, and she thinks that's the way she'll be treated by you for life. So imagine to her shock and horror when she finally gets to your country and after a little time she sees you're treating her far differently. She may even wonder to herself if you're even the same man she knew before. The things many guys may neglect to mention when they tell you of how the Filipina they married came to his country and ran off with someone else are things like how he stopped giving her his time, love and affection and really treated her more like a maid to clean the house, cook his meals and wash and iron his clothes. Now whilst most Filipinas are happy to do these things, they still need to feel valued and appreciated by her man. In this regards, she's like most women worldwide, and if they don't feel loved, cared for, secure and appreciated, then over time they will seek out someone who will make them feel this way. Now, I'm not trying to point all the blame on the men here, because clearly it does take two to tango. Why did the Filipina equally rush into the relationship without getting to know him more? But I may leave that for another video as we concentrate on the topic at hand. I've seen foreign guys flat out say, never bring a Filipina to the West or she'll leave you. And I've seen the same comment many times over. In fact, some of these guys have gone on to say that they choose to live in the Philippines with her so they don't have to worry about her racing off with a younger foreign guy. Now, I don't know about you, but to me, this is just trying to hide her away because of the guy's own fears. And I ask you, is that really any way to live a life and be happy? If one can't trust his Filipina to come and live in his country as man and wife, then really, what sort of relationship is that anyway? And all because these guys have heard stories that have been told mostly by third parties, and as a result, these guys think this sort of thing is happening in plague proportions. These guys really need to get a reality check here and start to look at their own insecurities and fears and address them before seeking out a much younger and beautiful woman where his inferiority complex won't be challenged in his mind. Now, just for clarity, what I'm talking about here in this video is not about older guys who choose to retire with their Filipinas in the Philippines. There are many great and decent guys who do that, and they have great lives with their Filipinas in that country. But if one is driven by his insecurities, believing she'll run off with a guy in his country, then simply I say, why in God's name are you dating a Filipina? And, as I say, most likely a much younger and very attractive one at that. I can tell you that I've been married to my Filipina for over 6 years living in Australia, and I've never had this worry. And I've seen other Filipinas here with their husbands, and they have never had that worry, and the relationship flourishes. But one can be sure, having a negative mindset full of fear and insecurities will only drive a good woman away eventually. And I'll challenge anyone who says never under any circumstances bring your Filipina to your country by saying they're your own insecurities and fears which you can keep to yourself and not try and spread them to others. Just out of curiosity here, how many of you guys watching have seen a comment or heard someone say, never bring your Filipina to the West? If you can pop your comment below, that would be appreciated. And if you're dating a Filipina, I have a whole library of important information and tips absolutely free. So be sure to check out the playlist on screen now. And I'll see you in the next video.